Having Leslie Odom sing as Sam Cooke, "A Change Is Gonna Come" at the end of this film is a dirty, dirty, but oh my god, powerful move that left me a hot mess. Give you my thoughts and review to the amazing One Night in Miami right after the jump. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime you have something, you'll be among the first to know. So I've been waiting for this one a bit. It's called a new film called One Night in Miami, directed by the amazing Regina King. First time feature film. She's done a bunch of television, but this is her first feature film. It's also important to note this is the same screenwriter who did Soul. This is based on his playwriting because he wrote a play. This is the play based on that. So Kemp is out there putting in that work. And this film, once One Night in Miami, it is about four very impactful historical black figures in different forms of either entertainment or politics or political or um, civil rights, all meeting on the night after Muhammad Ali's winning. At that point in time, Cassius Clay winning the title versus Sonny Liston, and it's Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown, and Malcolm X. And it is about them all coming together to do a little party afterwards. And seems like there's some facts based in it because there's some photos that exist. There's some. It's a sort of a merging of detailed facts versus some expelling of of what actually did and did not happen. It is a beautiful story that takes four black men in the early to mid '60s at various heights or lows of their careers and sort of puts them in a room to discuss those highs and lows and the what they could be doing more or what they could be doing less of or the other or the ways that they go about it may not work for everyone else, and it is powerful, it is impactful. There is so much that occurs in this movie that is important to today. There's an entire speech that the actor who plays Malcolm X gives in the hotel room that just still just makes the hairs on the back of the neck stand up because it is so still meaningful, and it's a movie about there is no right or wrong way to get the message that we need to be more together. We need to be doing more for the black community. But it can get a little muddy when there are four different viewpoints on that. The acting in this is phenomenal. Before I get to the actors, I do need to say something about directing. Regina King, bravo. I think the way that you handle this, the colors, the sounds, the sweat, the feel, it feels very lived in, it feels very real. And something that I really dislike about plays that are turned into film, oftentimes they feel like a play turned into a film. Like you can feel like, oh, I'm still on the stage, but we're filming it. This feels like a genuinely realized and lived in movie. Like this feels like a film that just happens to have a playwright have created the lines for the majority of it. But this feels like a movie more than it does a play version of a movie. Like Fences feels like a play version of a movie. No disrespect to Denzel. Ma Rainey's feels like a play turned into a movie. This feels like a movie that clearly existed as a play first, and that is a it's a it's a simple thing in the way that I'm saying it, but I think people who watch the film will kind of understand why I say that the way that it is. Now, on to the acting. I think all four of our leads do a fantastic job. I think the actors Kingsley playing Malcolm X and Leslie Odom playing Sam Cooke are the top tier. I mean, they're killing it. I also think anytime you have to both emote singing and emote acting and get it all in, you sort of have a cheat code versus some of the other folks. That's not to say that Eli or Aldous Hodge do bad versions of Cassius or Jim, but I think the majority of the meat and the majority of the yin and the yang of what people, the ideologies or philosophies of people are between Malcolm X and Sam Cooke, and they are the one, and the other two sort of rotate around them. Cassius is very much rotating and coming to terms with stuff around Malcolm X and Jim Brown, having other people who are entertainers just coming to grips with sort of stuff around all of them. Um, but I think the majority of the meat comes in the two of Kingsley and as X and Leslie as Sam, and they knock it out the park there. There's some heated moments, some truths to both sides of the coin that is uncomfortable. It gets ugly. It's something that I've always questioned. I've never seen this play, but I've always questioned how pro-black and anti-white Malcolm X is, but never really gets questioned, at least as far as I can see, on the fact that he is a lighter-skinned African American, and it gets brought up here and it's done well. I just think that there's so many layers to the black experience and the things that go on daily through the lives of black men. Especially once you start getting into entertainment, it gets a little bit more muddier because then you enter into rooms that you normally would not have been allowed to. For the most part, you can't enter them all. Like you can't go into someone's home even though they love you. But you're entering into worlds that you normally would not be allowed to because you do something well, because you play a sport well, you sing well, you entertain well, and your worth and value is only as good as you are uh, doing the thing that they tell you to go do. And there's some moments where they talk about the whole we are a product in the in the gladiators world, and there's someone sitting at the top giving you a thumb up and thumb down to go basically perform and be the monkey in the cage, and it's hard. It's hard to know that the worth for so long of black people wasn't that they were egos, that they could be a commodity that people could use to go and bring us more money in based on the backs and sweat and tears and work that you've done. I cannot express enough how much you should see this film and how it's I've already got two films. I'll talk about the other one later. But I already have two films that I feel are going to remain at the top of my list for 2021 in the onset. So if you have Amazon Prime, you should go check it out. On my list of Once Is Enough, Play It Again, Sam, or Give Me a Time Stone so that I never have to see this film again, Play It Again, Sam. This is a very important film, and I love that Regina got to break her teeth and direct these four very fine actors just putting in the work. I do hope screenplay. I mean, between Kemp's got to get something for either soul or whatnot. I do hope that this film did not come out too early in the year where it will get forgotten towards the back end of the year. A lot of the time, stuff that's released in the January through April run typically don't get looked at as far as Oscars or Academy Award stuff. So maybe with COVID, that window is a little different, but I do think this is a film that needs to be in every discussion for Golden Globes and Oscars, and Leslie and Kingsley need to be brought up consistently for any acting awards that ever occur. The reason why they wouldn't, you don't know where to put them is because you don't know who's the best actor or who's the best supporting. One of them have to be the other, and I think they're all equally leads to this. So that's the only thing that I could see is that they might cancel each other out. But I'd rather that be the problem than none of them get nominated at all. If you haven't, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up with email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere the place podcasts. We're there. We are currently doing this little series called Hollywood Already Did It Presents Sitcoms Through the Eyes of WandaVision, which is going to be done every week for WandaVision on Disney Plus, and taking a look at the sitcoms that they're paying homage to and sort of saying why they chose that, discussing why they chose that, discussing those sitcoms of that era, and sort of why WandaVision would be using these particular shows to kind of bridge through to whatever story it is they're trying to tell that. And we're doing that with our guest, Jamie Jarrett. So if you, from comicbook.com. So if you want to listen to that, it's going to be on anywhere the podcasts are played, but also here on the YouTube channel. We also have a sister podcast called You Can't Do That Anymore. We talk about classic films like Gone with the Wind or Back to the Future or American Beauty and look at those films through the eyes of today and see if some of the things that they got away with back then, if they can do now. But like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.